Hi, welcome everyone to today's session. In today's session, we'll be discussing about the cell structure and function, some questions based on this chapter from Class 8 NCERT CBSE Biology. So let's start with the questions that we are going to discuss today. The first question, that is, who discovered cell and it was in which year? So was it Robert Hooke or Robert Brown who discovered cells, and in which year? 1665 and 1669. Because if you see all the options, it is either Robert Hooke or Robert Brown, and either 1665 or 1669. So it is, we have to remember this particular fact, that is, cell was first discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. So the correct answer is option A. Let's move on to the next question. That is, which cells were first discovered? When Robert Hooke first visualized or first saw the cells, it was the cells of which part? Of which part did he see the cells? So was it from the cambium of the cells, or it was a cork, the leaves, or the bark? We all know that it was the cork cells that Robert Hooke first saw under the microscope. Those were dead cells. So the first cells which were discovered were the cork cells. All living organisms are made up of. So we know that all living organisms are made up of the basic structure and function unit of life, which are known as the cells. So the correct option is option B. Let's move on to the next question. Living organisms are made up of two or more number of cells are known as. So when the living organisms are made up of multiple number of cells or two or more number of cells, they are known as complex organisms, unicellular organisms, multicellular, or none of the above. So the correct answer is multicellular organisms, that is option C. That is, answer C is the correct option. That is, a single cell organism requires or performs all the necessary organs or necessary functions required for a multicellular organism. That is answer A. That is absolutely true, because we know that each cell, a single cell, has the capability or is able to perform all the functions that is required for a multicellular organism or for the living of any organism. So let's move on to the next question. A group of specialized cells is known as when cells which are specialized in some particular structure or it has some particular function, they are a specialized group of cells, and these cells come together and they form a multicellular organism, they form organs, tissues, or none of the above. So the correct answer is, that is, they form the tissues. So cells of similar type or similar function, they come together and form the tissues. Now these tissues come together and they form an organ. When several tissues come together, they form an organ. Now when several organs come together, they form an organ system. And many such organ systems, when it comes together, they are known as the organism. So this is the hierarchy of from the cells to that of the organism. So when cells of specialized cells, they come together, they are known as tissues, or answer C. Let's move on to the next question. That is, amoeba and paramecium are examples of unicellular organism, multicellular organism, simple organism, or complex organism. So amoeba and paramecium are examples of unicellular organisms. They are one cell organism, and this one cell perform all the required functions for their livelihood. So answer A is the correct option. Pseudopodia helps amoeba in ingestion, capturing of the food, locomotion, or all of the above. So we know that pseudopodia is a type of projection that is created by an amoeba in order to, that is, either ingestion or capturing food or locomotion or all of the above. So the correct option is all of the above, because all of these are the functions of the pseudopodia. They also help in locomotion of the amoeba, they help in capturing food or engulfing of food, and they also help in the process of ingestion, that is taking in that food. First they actually take or target the food or just engulf the food, and then they ingest the food, and also it helps through locomotion. So the correct answer is option D, all of the above. Let's move on to the next question, that is, which blood cells of the human body can change its shape like that of an amoeba? Now we all know that when it is a multicellular organism, the cell has a definite structure and a function. Based on that, they are grouped together to form tissues and so on. Now there are some cells, even if they are present in a multicellular organism, they can change its shape. So for the human body, which type of the blood cells actually changes its shape like that of amoeba? Is it the red blood cells or the RBC, the white blood cells or the WBC, and the blood platelets, or it is all of these? So which of all of these together does it change, or is it only the RBC, WBC or the platelets? So the correct answer is the white blood cells, or option B, which actually changes the shape according to the requirement. Now shape of a cell is, when we talk of cell, what is the shape of a cell? That is, it is round, option A, rectangular, option B, elongated, option C, or all of the above. So if you have seen the cells, we see that it is a round cell. Mostly the animal cell is round cell. Mostly we get elongated cells, the muscle cells, or sometimes they are all elongated shape. So for a cell, we get to see all these shapes, that is round, elongated, rectangular, elliptical. So all these shapes are very common, or it is observed for the cells. So option D, or all of the above, is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Which cells of the human body performs the function of transferring messages, controls and coordination different parts of the body? So they're asking of a particular cell which actually does some important functions in the human body. So what does it do? It actually helps in transferring messages and also does control and coordination of the human body. So it is the nerve cell or the neurons, the muscle cells, the cardiac muscle cells, or all of the above. So which cell actually does this perform? It is option A, the nerve cells or the neurons. They perform the action, or they perform the task of control and coordination of the whole human body. So it is option A. Let's move on to the next question. Cell wall is absent in plant cell, animal cell, bacterial cell, and none of the above. When we had discussed the chapter, I had told you that some differences between the animal cell and the plant cell. In that, I had mentioned that the plant cell, that a major difference between the plant cell and the animal cell is that the plant cell has a cell wall, whereas the animal cell is devoid of a cell wall. So it is written that cell wall is absent. So where is it absent? It is absent in an animal cell, that is option B. So animal cell does not have a cell wall. The shape and rigidity of the cell is provided by the cell wall, cell membrane, nuclear membrane, or the cytoplasm. So who provides the cell and the rigidity and the shape to the cell? Is it the cell wall, the cell membrane, the nuclear membrane, or the cytoplasm? So the option is, or the correct option is answer A, that is cell wall. It gives the shape and structure to that of a cell. Next, the largest cell. Which is the largest cell that we can see with the naked eye? Means if it is the largest, then it has to be a larger cell which can be viewed with the naked eye. Because if we go for minute cell, it has to be viewed under the microscope. So the largest cell is the egg of ostrich, egg of emu, egg of an eagle, or egg of a peacock. So the largest cell is that of egg of an ostrich, which is the biggest bird, and it has the largest egg. That is the single cell. This egg, only after fertilization, it becomes, or it increases, it becomes diploid in number, that is 2n in number. Previously it is always n, or it is a single cell. The smallest cell. Now we have talked about the largest cell, that is the egg of an ostrich. So which is the smallest cell? Is it the pox virus, the bacteria, or the mycoplasms, or none of the above. So the correct option is mycoplasm. It is the known smallest cell in the world. It is still smaller than that of the pox virus. So it is the mycoplasms which is the smallest cell. So it is option C. The next question, the smallest living part of an organism. So the smallest living part of an organism, if you think of an organism like that of humans, we are actually huge. So the smallest living part, what should be the smallest living part? The smallest living part is that the tissue, the cell, C the organ, or none of the above. It is B the cell, which is the smallest living part of any organism. So it is answer B, or option B. Cell without a well organized nucleus and nuclear membrane is called. So if a cell does not have a proper organized nuclear membrane and a nucleus, it is a prokaryotic cell. A prokaryotic cell means it is a primitive type of a cell which does not have a well-defined nucleus or well-defined nuclear membrane. So it is a primitive type of a cells, that is the prokaryotic. So if this question, here in the option you have primitive cells also, you have prokaryotic cells also, but in such a case or such a situation, you should answer it as prokaryotic cells because that is more scientific. Primitive, we call it, that is, we call it as primitive, but when we talk about from the language of a cells, it has to be told as prokaryotic cells. So option C is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Which plant part is responsible for the production of food? So which plant part is responsible for the food production? Is it the leaves, the roots, the stems, or all of the above? It is the leaves that is required, or leaves that is responsible for the production of food, because leaf is the place where the process of photosynthesis takes place because the presence of chlorophyll over there. So leaf is known as the kitchen of the plant, or it is the place which is responsible for food production. So the correct answer is option A. The centrally located dense round body present in the cell. So the centrally located dense round body in the center of the cell, it is the A cytoplasm, B mitochondria, C nucleus, or D none of the above. It is C nucleus, which is the centrally located dense and spherical shaped organism present in that of the cell. That is option C. Next question. The jelly-like matrix between the nucleus and the cell membrane is known as. So the jelly-like matrix which is present between the nucleus and the cell membrane. So that is the jelly-like substance. What is that? A nucleoplasm, B cytoplasm, C mycoplasm, or D none of the above. The correct answer is B cytoplasm. So it is the matrix present between the nucleus and the cell membrane. It actually contains all the cell organelles, it protects, and the cell organelles also remain embedded into the jelly-like matrix. That is, the correct answer is B cytoplasm. Cell wall protects the plants against. So we told that cell wall is a particular structure which is present only in the cell wall. It is absent for the animal cells. So what does it do? It actually helps in external foreign body, in the invasion or inclusion of the external foreign body, variations in temperature and moisture. So it is all of the above. So the cell wall that is present for the plant cells, it actually helps the cells or protects the cells from any foreign body, maintains the temperature, and also maintains the moisture content of the cell. So the cell wall performs all these three functions. So it is D, all of the above. Next question, the cell organelles are present in the, so just I think in the last question I had told you that the cell organelles remains embedded in the jelly-like material which is present, and that is known as the nucleoplasm. No, it is the correct answer is cytoplasm. So option B is the correct answer. The smaller spherical body in the nucleus is called the nucleolus, nucleoplasm, chromosome, or the nuclear membrane. So they are telling of a smaller spherical body which is present within the nucleus. So when they are talking of a spherical body in the cell, it is the nucleus. When they are talking of a spherical body within the nucleus, it is the nucleolus. That is option A is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question, that is the nucleus contains some thread-like structures. It is known as the nucleolus, nucleoplasm, chromosome, or nuclear membrane. So nucleus contains some thread-like structures. The thread-like structures which is present in the nucleus, it is known as the chromosome. That is option C is the correct answer, because nucleolus, nucleoplasm is the matrix in which the nucleus is there. Nuclear membrane, it surrounds the nucleus, and nucleolus is a small spherical body which is present within the nucleus. So it is option C, the chromosome. Blank looking structure lying embedded in the cytoplasm. We see some blank looking structures, that is some big structures present within the cell. Mostly it is found in the plant cell, and it is very less conspicuous in that of the animal cell, or it may be absent totally for the animal cell. That is option A is the correct answer, that is vacuole, because nucleus, mitochondria, and ribosome, they are all present and they are not blank. They are not totally a void structure because they have some features inside. So it is not a blank structure like that. So it is the option A, vacuole, is the correct answer. Moving to the next question, plastids containing chlorophyll. Now, when we had discussed about, or we have talked about in the chapter cell structure and function, we are told that plastids consist of three types, that is chloroplast, chromoplast, and the leucoplast. And each of this plast of the plastid has its separate functions. So the plastid containing chlorophyll are known as the chloroplast. Because of the presence of chlorophyll, they are given the name in chloroplast. And chromoplast and leucoplast, they are mostly used, or they mostly have their work when during the coloration of the fruits and the flowers, and also for the storage of the prepared food. Chromoplast mostly gives colors to that of the flowers and the fruits. So this is the work of the different types of plastid that is present. So it is not all of these. The correct answer is chloroplast, option B. Who proposed the cell theory? This is also an important question, because when we are studying of cell and cell structure and function, we must be aware about the cell, who discovered the cell theory, who gave the cell theory, what are the postulates of the cell theory. This I have already discussed in the previous video where I have talked about the chapter. And in this question we have that who proposed the cell theory. It is Robert Hooke, Sheldon and Shawn, Robert Brown, or all of these. So it is, the correct answer is Sheldon and Shawn who actually proposed the cell theory, and Robert Hooke was the person who discovered the cell for the first time in 1665. And so the correct option is option B. Next question, what does the cell theory state? So what are the postulates of the cell theory, or what did Sheldon and Shawn mention in their cell theory? So cells are the building blocks of all living cells. Cells arise from the pre-existing cells, and all living organisms are composed of one or more cells. So all these three are the postulates of the cell theory. So the correct answer is all of these. All these three statements sum up together to form the cell theory, which was given by Sheldon and Shawn. So the correct answer is option D. Let's move on to the next question. Which cell organelle is also known as the powerhouse of the cell? So when we talk of the powerhouse of the cell, it is the cell which it is that organelle in the cell which produces energy, and the correct answer is vacuole, nucleus, mitochondria, ribosome. So the correct answer is mitochondria, or option C, which is known as the powerhouse of the cell. And The final question of this video or from this chapter: which of the following are found only in the plant cell? Plastids, cell wall, both A and B, none of these. So which are the components which is only found in the plant cell? That is cell wall and plastid. So both are very much particular to that only of a plant cell. So it is both A and B. That is option C is the correct answer. So this brings us to the end of the MCQs of the chapter Cell Structure and Function. And in my next video, I'll be coming up with another chapter from Class 8, NCERT CBSE Biology. If you have liked my video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Till then, bye, take care, thank you.